quesadilla all through my teeth. Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Days of the Dead. You've done a few of these this year.
I have.
Has it been a wonderful time with Days?
It has been.
We love it here.
Yeah.
Right? It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay, so let's get right down to business, shall we? Let's start talking about Evil Dead Rise. It has been
Let's
out.
do it.
It has been out for a little while. Last time I spoke with you, it had just come out.
Really?
Yes. So it was still very, very, very new.
It's all a blur.
All these constantly really blend together, do they not?
Yeah, but also this year has just, I can't tell when I was anywhere. Yeah.
Well, thankfully now we can speak about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes. What were some of the biggest challenges in playing with Ellie?
Biggest challenges?
Mm-hmm. Going right in.
You've stumped me right off the bat.
I'm good at that. You know I am.
Was it all easy for you, or?
Oh my god, piece of cake.
Right. I don't believe you.
Total piece of cake.
I don't believe you at all.
I had no problems whatsoever.
Just start listing challenges.
One take, everything I did, one take. Nailed it. Full perfection. No, I would say that the hardest thing was probably trying to find the line between scary with a little comedy, but still keep it scary. The tone of that was probably the biggest challenge. So there were some takes that we were all giggling at, but it sort of took the scare factor out of it. So yeah, I'd say that was probably the biggest challenge.
I think comedy is important in horror as well, because if you don't have that laugh break, you're just going to go insane. If it's full force the entire movie, it's rough. It's a rough movie.
Yeah, it's also, I appreciate that ours was sort of dark comedy as well. It wasn't like an over-the-top slapstick. Well, I did spit an eyeball across the room. It's a little bit slapstick.
It's once.
Yeah.
It's not the whole movie again.
Right. Yeah.
Can we talk about your fantastic finale scene?
Sure.
Yeah, how was it filming that? Challenging?
It was kind of a shit show. I'm not gonna lie, but not for the reasons that you would think. We filmed Evil Dead chronologically, which never happens. We got really lucky because we had a purpose-built set in a warehouse. So we were able to shoot it chronologically, and it made more sense so that the continuity with all of the blood and everything that had happened, all the blood could sort of stay after we had had a kill. They didn't have to clean it up and reset it to go back in time and film something else on that set. So we filmed it chronologically. We were 8 days from finishing, and I get a bit homesick when I'm filming. And so I was like, I'm almost going home. Get to see my pop, you know. And there was a COVID outbreak in New Zealand, and the country shut down, like full shutdown, full isolation, and we were in the midst of filming the whole parking garage sequence. So we had to hit pause and all stay in our apartments, hotel rooms, wherever we were put, and it was 2 months worth of a lockdown, waiting to go back to work. That's why it was a little bit of a shit show. So we went back after 2 months of sitting and waiting and finished it up. And it was then, by that time when we were on set, we couldn't be on set with one another. So filming the final marauder creature.
Social distance.
Yeah, so we all had to film our pieces separately, and then it was stitched together afterwards. Yeah, and it's nerve-wracking as well, because once I was wrapped, pretty much, I think the next day I was on a flight back to LA, and I didn't get to see any of it until I was then in ADR doing my dialogue for the Deadite in ADR, and I saw the final sequence. I was blown away. I was like, how did we pull this out of our asses? I've got no idea.
Was it difficult to go back, to jump back into it after being gone for 2 months?
Mm-mm.
Not at all? Not even a little bit?
I can compartmentalize with characters pretty well, but I want to be able to do that, so I've worked on being able to do it.
Yeah.
When I wrap for the day, I happily go home and put my feet up, and whatever's happened on set doesn't really stay with me. Yeah, because I don't want it to. I want to have my own life separate. My my own life is very boring, so which I like. I like having a boring life, and it means
You don't
then-
like being possessed?
I do. I know. I had a brilliant time. I had a blast. It was great.
As long as it's fake.
Yeah, but that's what I do. So my real life is like really quite boring. I have plants and I drink tea and I have a dog. And then I go onto set and I play and I get to experience some world that I wouldn't get to otherwise. So, yeah.
Do you remember what the first scene you shot was?
Yes, it was the first scene that you see me in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You said it was chronological. My
Yeah.
mistake.
There were some exceptions to the chronological rule, but yeah, for the most part we did. So it was the scene with Bridget and I'm fixing my tattoo gun and she's complaining to me about laundry and I go, do it yourself. That's that scene. Yeah.
You did a lot of your own stunt work in this. Is this true? Or not?
Yeah, I did. I did a bunch of stuff. We had a brilliant stunt double as well, Tika. She was incredible. And like the best stunt double I've ever had. I'm not an easy shape to find a double of, and they did it. She's a better shape actually. I was like, yeah, she's ripped. I'll take it. She was incredible and did some of the harder stuff because I wanted to try everything. I really enjoy doing stunts, and there were things that they wouldn't let me try. They were like, "It's gonna take you way too long." Okay.
What's your favorite part about attempting a stunt?
I quite like being in a harness and being thrown about. It's a bit like being on a roller coaster, so you get a bit of a rush, especially the one where I dropped in the elevator. That was really fun. It made me a bit motion sick though. I think we did like 4 or 5 takes and I was like, I think I'm done, guys. If I go again, I'm gonna puke. Yeah. Yeah. But it's also like I hadn't done a lot of stunts before and it's a bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time because you have to match your performance while you're in your head because you have to be so accurate and the counts of everything, especially if you're doing fight choreography, there's a whole timing to it and it's like a dance. And so you have to like match your performance while in your head you're like 5, 6, 7, 8, you know?
When you were attached to the harness, now I've never been in a harness, right? So when you were getting thrown about in,
Oh, they feel really good.
well, did you ever like get like whiplash or strain a muscle or hurt your back, you know, from the jerking and pulling, or was it pretty like I'm done here? Was it pretty smooth?
I don't think I did. I got a couple of bruises. From the harness. Yeah. It's more like have you ever sat on a spin bike? Who's got a Peloton? No one? Okay. Well, the spin bike, you know the feeling the next day when you sit down and you're like, oh, it's like that. It's like from the constant pressure.
Yeah.
You just feel it the next day.
Right.
All right, we're opening up to the audience. I see that guy's had his hand up. What do you got, baby?
So, for you and that guys, what was the most mentally draining part of the role, the whole movie?
I think the most mentally draining, and it was mentally draining because physically it was the worst thing I think I've ever done on a set, was the vomit. I hated it. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever done. Yeah, and so that was like having to do that. they told me, we're only doing it once. We can only do it once because you're gonna fall into the vomit. So it's just once. And it's never just once. It's never just once. So yeah, when they're like, okay, reset, we're gonna go again, I sort of had to go,
But you promised.
And so, yeah.
Just once.
Yeah. No, I think we did it more than once. Yeah. That was tough. Yeah.
What was the, like, what went into that effect of making that vomit scene happen?
Come on, girl.
Well, it's all done practically.
I know.
So that, all of that liquid is really being just forced. They force it into my mouth and then out of my mouth. So, yes. Yes, it's disgusting. So I had a tube, and it was like this rod tube that was like this long, and it had a mouthpiece on it, and I have to hide the mouthpiece in my mouth, and the vomit comes from like this pressurized tank of whatever, and they shoot it up that rod, and it goes up and then into my mouth, and then it bounces off the mouthpiece, which sprays it out of my mouth, and then all of the liquid that's spraying hides the rod that it's come up. So that's how they do it, and the vibration of that, because of the force of it, and you're just sitting there going, oh. It's just fucking awful.
You were like, this is gonna be for real.
I was really gagging.
Right.
I was it was, yeah. The look on my face is very real. I did, but like my eyes are kind of rolling back in my head. It's, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyone
Thank
else?
you for making me relive it.
See what you done did? Yes, ma'am.
I loved your character movements in it. Can you kind of walk us through what your inspiration was for how to move and have your character react as like a demon versus a mom?
Yeah. I had a playlist that I put together of music, and I spent during the pandemic, because we filmed in New Zealand. I had to go through their government quarantine. Guys, New Zealand had multiple hotels that they were putting people in for their 2 weeks of quarantine, and I drew the short straw. I got a bed with 4 walls around it for 2 weeks. I'm not even lying. I was ready to get out. But I had this playlist, and I would put it on in my quarantine for 2 weeks, and I don't know, I just started moving around to the music, and it's like, I'm looking for flow state, basically, and to just start doing some creepy shit on my own in a hotel room. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. It came kind of easy, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know what that says about me. But, yeah.
What song?
I'm not going to mention there's a male musician, and he's been up to no good. So I'm not going to mention his name. There was some Massive Attack on there from the album Mezzanine. Yeah, give it up for Massive Attack! And another band called Pucifer. There was a song on there from them. Hey, yeah.
What's your favorite gory moment of any movie?
It's not really a gory moment, but it's very memorable. It's in Hereditary. Because I really wasn't expecting her to be up there. It got me good. I was texting a friend while I was watching it going, what am I doing to myself? This is awful. I don't know why I'm doing this. Because I have a really hard time watching horror. I have an overactive imagination, and I have a hard time sleeping if I've watched some horror. And I felt like I had to watch some horror films before I started doing press for Evil Dead. And Hereditary was on my list, and it was... earlier in the film, the kid, the head, that was... There you go, that's a gory one. Yeah. Awful. Yeah.
That post came out of nowhere. No, you said you're not like...
It's just brutal. It's so brutal.
It is.
It's all... I mean... It's such a good film. It's so effective. Like, I really hats off because I got hat hair. It's staying on. It was so good. It was so good. I appreciate it as a film, but woo, it was emotionally hard.
Well, that's why you know it's a good film.
Yeah.
You said you weren't too terribly fond of horror films yourself. Were you familiar with our source material, the other Evil Deads? Did you go and watch them beforehand?
Yeah, I watched them after I made my tape. When I found out that Lee wanted to meet with me, I watched them. Yeah, I was like, oh, here I go. But it was okay because they were made over time, and they weren't as scary as I thought they were going to be.
They really leaned into that comedy after part one.
Yeah, but I also think because if I had have watched them at the time, I think it would have had a different effect on me because of where films have gone now. There are just different standards.
Mm-hmm.
Audiences are less sensitive to stuff these days. So you can't really compare. I don't think. Yeah, I did watch the originals, and Evil Dead 2 cracked me up. I was like, what the hell is this?
Did you ever see the show Ash vs. Evil Dead?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I have met Dana and Ray. I just met them. We were all together at a con in Manchester.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We had a great time.
First of all, you're amazing in the movie. It's an incredible physical performance. It's awesome. And I don't know if you heard any talk from the producers at all about the voices on the record that your son plays. Is it Ash? Did they give you any tidbits about that, or is that?
First of all, thank you. It is Ash. Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah, it's him.
I think Lee talked about there's a certain line, a precise line that you did not feel comfortable saying. Is that true, or did you? No. Okay.
No, I was fine saying it.
Okay.
No, he said I wasn't comfortable saying
I thought it was when I read
called
something
it.
that you weren't like you felt like it would maybe would not have gone over well on camera, or.
Sorry, what?
I thought he said that you thought that maybe it wouldn't go over well on camera, or maybe it was the producers that thought that line. I just thought that line was like a real. It went over really well in the theater when I saw it.
My only hesitation with any lines like that is just on like I gotta nail it. The performance has to be right. So I get a little apprehensive when I see a line like that, but not because I don't want to say it. Not like that. It's more like if I don't do this the right way, it could just be bad. There's such amazing lines of dialogue to have that I felt a huge responsibility to deliver it in a way that was really creepy and not obvious. The obvious take is going, I'm favorable to chase parasites. Right? Like that's the obvious thing to do. And in fact I did that in my audition tape. But we won't talk about that. So yeah, it's always about like, let's talk about the most effective way to deliver it. Yeah.
How do you like transition? Like when you're the mom, you're just a particular way, you're like a character, and then you change into this horrible monster. Like how do you shift, I guess? And, like inside, how do you transition to make it seem so believable?
I think it's because I just had two different characters. I created two different characters, and I didn't really ever have to be both at the same time. Did I? I mean, Deadeye Elliot really likes to fuck with the kids, so she's. If there are moments, I like to think of it as there's one moment that real Ellie comes back and says something, and it's right at the end. Everything else is Deadeye Ellie manipulating her kids. But the way I worked on it is that real Ellie only comes through right at the end when she pleads with Beth. And I took it to mean, please free me from what's happening and save my kids, which means please kill me. Yeah, that's how I took it. Is it a little too big for you?
Bathroom scene when you're like in the ceiling and all that. Can you talk about like what's you versus CGI? Like how did that scene play out?
I can tell you what's me versus the stunt double, because I don't think there is much CGI. I know that my eyes were CGI. Yeah, I don't think there was much CGI. Oh, the removal of the harness straps, right? That would have happened digitally. It is not me going from the bathtub up to the ceiling. That's the stunt double. There's other stuff that she did that I'm not thinking of right now. It's been a while since I watched it. Falling back into the tub is her. I did one, the wide of the fall is her. I just crashed into some mats. I did it with my mouth and like fell just onto some mats. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, we did so much practically. That's what Evil Dead's known for. So everything that they can do in camera, they do. And it makes for a really fun set to be on because then every department is like at the top of their game. So, the special effects like the vomit rig and everything, there's always a rig for everything that's happening. I had scissors. They just cut off one of the blades, but I actually had a pair of scissors like on my face. And then they just took out like the actual thing that sort of tied it to my head. So as much as they can do practically, they do, and it's really fun to work with. Yeah, all the blood is like there's real blood everywhere. Yeah, it was really unsettling because they blast my leg and my arm off with the shotgun, and so they made prosthetic arms and legs, but they cast them from me. And I have pretty specific looking calf muscles. That's not someone else's leg. And I was just like looking at this thing on the ground going, that's my leg. That's my leg. Like, it's so weird. It's really weird. Just doused in blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, I have serious leg envy. I'm 5'2". You are not. And I'm like, I want to be you.
See, I want to be shorter.
When we can fit on planes very easily.
Yeah.
We can tuck.
Oh, so
However,
jealous.
I can't reach a shelf.
Yeah, but you can get around that. You can stand on something.
I've become very good
There are
at
tools.
climbing onto counters, even
Yeah.
at work in my restaurant job,
Right.
and I crawl
Yeah.
up the counter and get the wine glass and
Yeah.
fall down. But people are like, that's dangerous. You shouldn't do that. I'm like, the wine glass is 5 feet tall.
What are they doing putting wine glasses up high?
So high.
That's an everyday item. That should be.
You don't know how many times I have to jump onto the counter to get a wine glass.
No, the stuff up high has to be the stuff that, like the gravy boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something we've never used there.
You use it once a year at Thanksgiving. Guys! Thanksgiving's coming up.
Next week, yeah. So yeah, I have serious height envy. Because I'm 5'2" and you're not.
I'm not. I wish I wasn't as tall, but I am. So I kind of just have to suck it up.
You're right.
At this point, yeah.
Same. You can't say stop. Like I was like, bro. It's true. It's true. All right. Any other audiences? Yes.
So how during your experience with children, how did you channel your role of motherhood?
I treat my dog like a child. I do. I just have a very maternal side to me. I've had to play mums before. I love kids. I get along with kids really well. I really adore them. I love it when kids come through my line. Yeah, and I talk to my dog like a child. So I think probably like I had a harder time working on being a mum. They're kind of in and out, aren't they?
That was better.
Okay. When I first started on Vikings, because I think that might have been the first time that I played a mum. So 4 years of that, and now it kind of feels a little bit more like second nature.
That is our
Yeah. And I validate my dog's emotions. I'm a really good dog parent. Yeah. And he's used to it now. As well. I've had a dog trainer tell me that we have a really good bond. I'm like, that's because I validate his emotions. And because he'll something will happen, right? Like UPS truck, arch nemesis. He hates the UPS truck. And the minute he hears the UPS truck, he whips his head around and goes, Mum, that's the UPS truck. And I look at him and I go, yeah, bud, you're right, it's the UPS truck. It's okay to be scared, but I'm going to keep you safe and I'm going to be here with you and help you through it. I'm a good mum.
What kind of dog is it?
He's part schnauzer, part poodle.
Oh.
He's a schnoodle. He's a little snuggler too.
Oh, the best guy.
Yeah.
The best guy.
He's awesome.
You know, dogs are the best.
Yeah.
Dogs are better than people most of the time. I stand by that. It's true.
Are you open to doing any more horror projects in the future?
I am, but not right now. I think. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of the general rule. It's hard because you sort of go, never say never. There might be something that comes along on Monday that I go, oh my God, I just really want to do that. But I think for right now, I love horror and I really respect the genre. And I think horror, one of the great things about horror to me is that the people that make it know that there is a built-in audience and that it is very possible that they will be able to make some money out of their horror film. And because of that reason, they embrace new talent. And they are not afraid to hire actors that are not necessarily A-listers and household names. And I really appreciate that horror is like that. I love it as a genre. It's more like from a 40,000 foot view of my career. If I follow up a horror with a horror, I may not have as much longevity. So it's really like just a technical, okay, I need to do a little something different straight away after Evil Dead. So that was a long ass answer for you. Yeah, I really went into detail. Yeah, I've had to say no to some stuff that I would have said yes to if I hadn't just done Evil Dead. And it sucks. It sucks. Especially because I'm from the working class section of the actor population, and saying no to stuff really fucking hurts. You go, I don't want to work, I want a job. But yeah, you sort of have to look at things from a bigger thing. Yeah, is what I'm saying. In the future, yeah, give me 5 years.
So, what are you working on next?
Nothing.
The strike just ended.
The
Give her
strike
time.
just ended, mate. Yeah.
The calls haven't started happening yet.
Thank you for adding to my anxiety. Nothing yet. I'm working on creating some stuff on my own of things that I would like to do. Those are ways of, yeah.
What other genres would you like to explore?
I want to get back into some drama. I really like drama. I want to play a messed up woman with a lot of flaws. Yeah. like I said, then it's fun, right? Because I'm a boring life, and then I go to set and I get to do like some weird shit. So yeah.
Did you feel any pressure, either real or imaginary, doing this property, knowing that it has such a history?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yes. That's the short answer. I trusted Lee with knowing the tone of the project, and you know, he's such a fan of the franchise and a student of the franchise as well. He knows it so well that it was easy for me to kind of take a step back and be like, well, he's got the Evil Dead part covered, but I felt pressure because in my head, a horror film is only as good as the monster. If the monster sucks, the film is going to fall on its face. Same thing with your final girl. If she's not actually scared and she's not putting in that kind of performance, it's also going to suck. And the two have to really work in harmony together. I have to be legitimately scary and creepy, and hopefully unlike something else that you've seen, so it's a new take on a possession. And Lily, who played Beth, she has to be legitimately scared and believably so in fresh ways in each scene that comes along for it to really work. So yeah, I think we both felt a bit of pressure with that. But I work good under pressure. I care about what I do very much. Yeah.
What was it like stepping into a villain role?
The most fun. The most fun. I loved it. I want to play more villains. Different kinds of villains, but yeah, I would love to play more villains.
What got you into acting?
I think my initial love of it, and it was when I was a kid, was probably just wanting some attention. Gross.
I think that's normal for a child, though.
I think it is. Yeah. I think it's normal for a lot of actors as well. I think a lot of us have some shit that we're working through. We've got some holes that we need filled. Yeah. Just having it, yeah. I think that's what initially drew me to it, and then very quickly I discovered that we could move people. And like, there are things that I turn to as like my comfort things to watch. I think we all have, like, entertainment serves a real purpose for people, and now it's more about like, what can I do that will affect other people, make them think about something in a different way, reflect like a parent's fear that they're going to harm their kid, and that's in this nightmarish version of a mother on screen. Like, if there's a reason for the project beyond just like, oh, this will make me look cool, you know, like then that's actually really why I love it. So when people, it's lovely when people come by and they say, oh my gosh, it was so great. It's like lovely to hear. I'm never gonna like get tired of hearing it. I'm just gonna say, but every now and then someone will come through and tell me that something that I was a part of that they watched helped get them through a hard time, and that is like, oh, shit. Like the purpose behind that and living your life in that way is like I could almost tear up when people tell me that. So yeah.
First of all, I think that the whole COVID situation kind of proved that you actors are essential. Film is essential, entertainment is essential, because we had nothing else except TV to rely on, right? And also, that is absolutely true from the other side. I can't tell you, and there's been a few movies or shows, episodes, whatnot, like that absolutely like changed my life or helped me when I was like 20 years ago, right?
Friends.
Yeah.
Friends is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not be like a whole show or a whole series, but like one episode in a show.
And the Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love the Gilmore Girls. Every time I get sick, I watch the Gilmore Girls. Oh, I love that there are some other Gilmore Girls fans in here.
The writing on the Gilmore Girls was fantastic.
So good!
See, I didn't watch Gilmore Girls so much. I was a 90210 girl myself. But what Amy Sherman Palladino did after Gilmore Girls, my little dancing heart really loved Bunheads, and he had the same quick wit with dancing in Sutton Foster, who did Broadway Extraordinaire, of course. And it didn't last very long. It lasted like a season and a half on ABC Family, so I was way too old to be watching this show, by the way. my 30-year-old self was like, this is not even for me. But the Broadway lover in me, of course, she pulled me in with Sutton, and then the ballet, they hired real dancers, too. And the quick wit writing. Oh my God, it's so good. If you guys can find Bunheads, it's really hard to find it. And you like Gilmore Girls, you're gonna love it, I'm telling you.
Okay, check it out.
Oh yeah, you gotta find it. It's so good.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I got people addicted to it. I think it's on Hulu, but I'm not sure where else it might be online. I may or may not own it on DVD.
You think you may?
I do. No, but entertainment is absolutely essential, and COVID proved that. People say actors, you don't, nothing. No, we proved that we needed actors and film and producers and directors.
I think, actors provide a lot of value. I'd like to think that you guys are sitting here because of a performance I made. And that I'm going to do that differently to another actor, and that I'm hired for that role for a reason. And, yeah. I won't get up on my soapbox about it.
Never.
Yeah. And I won't tell you what my residuals have been because you'd be shocked.
I don't want to know. That's
It's scarier than the movie.
That's none of my business.
Yeah.
Unless you choose to share.
No.
I don't ask stuff like
No,
that.
it's just not very good.
I know it's not enough. Okay, one more audience question before I wrap up. Do we have any out there? Anyone want to be that brave soul? There we go.
I was looking at your acting credits and it says you were in The Devil Wears Prada, which is a huge comfort movie for us. Were you able to meet Meryl Streep when she was Miranda Priestley?
I was not, no. I had 2 days on set, and both of my scenes got cut. So that's that story. And it's really funny because every interview I do, the journalist just looks me up on IMDb and they go, oh, Devil Wears Prada, because it's like the most well-known thing that's on my resume, and everyone always asks me about it, and I'm like, I look like I was an extra in the film. Blink and you'll miss me right at the start.
Right at the start.
Right at the start. I'm in the elevator behind Anne Hathaway when she gets into the elevator to do her interview. And I had a line. Would you like to hear what it was? Okay, so my role was clacker number 2. Now, clacker number 1 was played by an actress. Her first name was Alexi. God damn it, I can't remember her second name. No, I can't remember. Okay, so clacker number 1 is standing right next to me in the elevator, and we're both behind Anne Hathaway. And clacker number 1 turns to me and she goes, you look awesome today. I can't wear cropped pants. And then I say, oh please, I almost called in fat today. That was it.
What a relatable line.
That was it. That was my line.
And it got cut. I need to use, I'm gonna steal that since it's not in the movie and use it in my life.
There you go.
I feel it every day.
It was on the DVD in the deleted scenes.
Okay, I have that, so I'll have to go back and watch it.
It's on there. And I do still make residuals from that one.
There you go.
Yeah. Not the streaming, but
So buy physical media.
Yeah.
In other words, right? Okay, so last question to wrap it up. You know I like to get deep on the last question.
Oh shit.
Right? She's had me once before. She knows all about that.
I forget what you asked me.
Well, I don't remember, but I'm asking.
It mustn't have been that bad.
I'm asking you something
different.
different. What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh.
The last time too, it was a different question.
I remember what it was, I'll tell you.
At least I'm predictable. You know, that's a tough one, and I don't want an answer to be carved in stone. So what I'm going to tell you about right now is something that I am a part of working on, that I believe in very strongly. I will get up on my soapbox about this. There is an organization in New York, and they are called the Model Alliance. When I lived in New York and I was a model, I saw some really messed up stuff. I was emotionally abused, verbally abused, financially abused. I essentially went through experiences that were not too far departed from labor trafficking. I was put into an apartment with 8 other girls. It was a 2-bedroom apartment in New York. This was back in 1999, I think. Yeah, 1999. Back in 1999, a 2-bedroom apartment. There were 9 of us in the apartment, and they were charging us all $1,000 a month rent. The agency was, right? So that's over 20 years ago, and they were making $9,000 a month off the models that they brought into the country. They were in charge of our immigration status because they had organized our visas, and they would run up these debts for us, and we had no way to fight this system. A lot of those women were from underprivileged backgrounds, from different countries, and the agency just adds debts to your account for test shoots, for this, for that, for car services, right? So they're just adding fees. Oh, we had to print out more cards for you. That's another $200. So if you got a job, you would get a check maybe 3 or 4 months later for the job that you did. And it was never for the amount that they told you. It was always so much less because they would deduct all of these crazy expenses from you. They were making money off bringing girls into the country. Now, it was long-winded, I'm sorry, but I feel very strongly about it. I was very lucky because I was able to work enough to get myself out of that situation and rent an apartment. But I'm the exception to the rule. This whole Linda Evangelista getting out of bed for $10,000 a day, that is not the norm for models. And these modeling agencies have no regulation. There's nothing to stop them from doing this and for taking advantage of these girls. The financial abuse leads to sexual abuse and sexual exploitation of the workforce. There are models put in situations that are very, very dangerous, where they are abused in all kinds of ways, and they don't feel like they have a voice to speak up to anyone about this. So, the Model Alliance is fighting to have a bill passed in New York that would regulate the modeling agencies. It would keep them from being able to overcharge for rent and for being able to add ridiculous expenses to the women's accounts. All of this. There's a lot of stuff in this bill that would actually provide protections, basic protections for these workers. There's no unions, there's no nothing. And so I am helping the Model Alliance to fight to get this bill passed. The legislative season is coming up. I believe it goes from January to June in New York, and we will be fighting for it. You will start seeing more of this stuff on my social media. I would love, love, love to be a part of getting that bill passed.
How can we help? You can sign a petition, you can donate money, like having the regular Joe in Chicago or Alabama or wherever you live help with this.
Stay tuned. My thinking on this is to just wait, because I would imagine that making phone calls to politicians will be useful once the legislative season is up and about. I know there will be fundraising efforts. If you go to my Instagram, the link on my profile is to donate to the Model Alliance so that we can get the work done. So.
And you'll keep us updated on your Instagram as well about the progress of this song?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Give it up.
Thank you.
See you guys in a bit. See you.
Thanks so much. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Some people are fun. So, we got that. Oh, and I got keep me updated on that. Do you need chairs or no?